Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 9 of number 6, and man, we only have this and 2 more episodes. I don't feel sad yet, but I think once we get to episode 10 and 11, I'm going to feel really sad because I really liked this series, and I feel like it's ending too quickly. I hate that. The only saving grace in all this is that I know I still have like 5 more volumes of the manga to read and to fill in the gaps and see where the story expands upon. So we've got this episode and then episode 10, episode 11, and then after that, before we move on, I am going to do a soapbox for this time slot this week to go over number 6, the manga. So that is the saving grace in all this, is that the story is going to be completed after the anime. But man, it kind of sucks because I've really gotten into this story and Nezumi and Shion's relationship and these characters and the mystery surrounding this world, and then we're just going to end it in 3 episodes. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. My only hope is that maybe one day they'll remake the series and go over the entire manga, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, they've done that with Fruits Basket, and they've done that with other series like Full Metal Alchemist and stuff like that, where they've gone back and did the full series with the manga. So why not this? I don't know. But last episode, there was a lot of things happen. We got some exposition about number 6. We found somebody that survived the wasp attack like Shion did. We learned more about this mysterious goddess-like figure that Nezumi's people kind of were involved with. Safu is somehow involved with all this as well. I theorized last episode that maybe she's like a reincarnation of the goddess and she has it inside of her. I don't know. And they're trying to tap into her like as a life force. I don't know. But stuff is getting crazy. And then Shion's mom is with Yeowmen, this reporter that has his own agenda, and he's trying to get her sucked along in with it too. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. So in any case, I'm very excited to see what happens in episode 9. I don't know where we're going to in this, other than we know that Inukashi and Regika have been kind of staked out in charge of kind of scoping out and getting things in order so that Nezumi and Shion can break into the number 6, the correctional facility. So we shall see where that goes. But I'm excited, y'all. I'm so curious to see what ends up happening this episode. But thank you all for watching with me. And yeah, we're going to start episode 9 of number 6 here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh my gosh! Ah! Awesome. Cool. How do we only have 2 episodes left? I hate that. I hate it! Because it's so frustrating. Because I know the manga is going to go into way more detail, especially at this point. I feel like a lot of stuff that happened this episode, this episode went by so fast because it was just stuff. And I feel like you can tell in this episode that there's stuff that's been cut from the manga and there's stuff that will be expanded on more, and it's taking all I have in me not to go ahead and read. But I think I'm pretty committed at this point that I'm going to finish out the next 2 episodes before I finish the manga series. Oh, but it's so hard. Okay. Yeah. This episode, though, okay, first of all, the official that they kidnap, the number 6 high official that they kidnap, that Regika gets to go there. At first, I was a little confused because at first I'm like, oh, they're going to use Doglone as the... I thought at first that Doglone was with Regika when he met up with this guy, and they were just going to kidnap him. But I guess because of surveillance, that would have been too hard because he could have cried out or escaped, and that would have been more difficult just with the 2 of them there. And then when Regika brought them back, which is kind of like the implication that Regika brings people back, like this guy, to have sex with people like in his home and pays them up front. Like that's just, ugh, it's just gross, right? And then I got confused because you saw the blonde hair, and I was like, oh, well, it's not Inukashi. But then the guy goes, oh, you smell of dogs. And I'm like, but it is Inukashi. And then, oh my gosh, that was so disturbing where he like put his hand between Inukashi's legs and like licked Inukashi's face, licked their face, and Um, and then Nezumi comes out, and I totally get where Inukashi's coming from, because that clearly, the way that they talk was not part of the script. Like, Nezumi wasn't supposed to wait that long. And I can totally understand why Inukashi would be disturbed and angry that you didn't follow through and have basically being assaulted like that. And the only thing I can think of is when Shion holds Inukashi, holds them, and goes, "Oh, I don't know if Shion hadn't placed whether Inukashi was technically female in terms of sex or not." That's the only thing I could think of. And I'm wondering if the manga is going to expand on that and give us more of Shion's thought process in that moment too, because that was a little bit confusing. So I'm interested in seeing what the manga does with that. But that's so staged for disaster indeed. Like, this whole disaster on all fronts, right? So we get that, and the idea that Nezumi is planning something that has to do with cleaning day. That has to do with the cleaning duty, which we know now. As soon as they said cleaning duty, I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to purge the city right before Holy Day and purge all the trash out to make room for new trash. And I was like, that just seemed, although the devices and technology they used was really disturbing, like the sound waves just destroying everything. And obviously Nezumi not wanting to involve Shion for his own sake, because he's afraid that Shion will, become hurt or whatever. But he ends up getting involved anyway, so I'm assuming that Nezumi's plan was to go in with Regika and Doglone, or go in by himself and leave Shion there. So that part I'm also interested in seeing if the manga talks about. But that whole thing with Inukashi at the sink, that was amazing. That was an amazing scene. Like, so much emotion and power there. But so disturbing. So the infiltration, the idea that the infiltration is going to be so hard to get in, there's no recommended route. It's all a bad situation. And Nezumi's like, well, we've got to work with it somehow. And he says there's one other way. And they both are against it. So I don't think that what he's talking about has to do with the cleaning duty. So I'm curious to know. I guess it's him getting caught, but I'm curious to know what exactly it was if he tells Shion in this. And then we come back to him being in the apartment with Shion, and it's so tragic in this moment, because Shion's asking, like, if we're here for the summer, like, what's it like down here? Is the humidity high? Like, how do you cook? Do you have a stove and all this? And for a moment, Nezumi gets so shocked because he hadn't thought that far ahead. He's like, oh, you think we're going to still be here this summer, that this isn't a suicide mission and we're not going to die and you're not going to leave me? Either one of those two things. Either it's a suicide mission, they're going to die, or he's thinking that Shion's going to go back to number 6 after Safu and his mom is rescued. But you can just see the shock on his face where he's like, oh, you're planning to stay with me. Like, just that shock there. If you don't chase me out, it's Shion's response. And Nezumi is just so surprised by that. And I love that. I love that Shion's dedicated to Nezumi. He's like, no, I like you. We're going to stay here together. And Nezumi just can't quite get his mind around that, right? So then, of course, Shion, being typical Shion, he's like, yeah, we've got a lot of things that we need to do between now and summer. Summer's just around the corner. And he's like, I just have to rescue Safu, create a serum for the parasitic wasps, break down the division between number 6 and West Block, and go on living here. Like with my mother, Safu, and you. Ha! And he's like, that's such a fantasy. Like, that's quite the fantasy. And Shion's like, I'm serious. I'm going to bring Safu and my mom here to live with us. And Nezumi's like, yeah, about that. I don't know if that's going to happen. And it's so hard because that's like the best case scenario. Like, you want that to happen. But it's like, Nezumi's kind of right here. He's like, oh, you really think your mom and Safu are going to live here with us and it's going to all work out? Like, where do you think they're going to stay? Like, And then Shion says, I'll be waiting and believing in you. And in that moment, I'm like, is Shion really going to wait and let Nezumi go do his own thing? And for a moment, it looks like Nezumi is getting his wish and Shion is going to leave him alone to his own devices. And it's like, but is that really what you wanted all along? I don't know. And then the mom, Karen, the little girl coming at her, so being like, she forgot that it was even Holy Day tomorrow because she's so worried about Shion. And I will admit, yeah, Yeowmen, he's been creepy all along, but this episode, he's really been creepy too. And part of me is like, I'm on the fence with him. Like, part of me is like, he's not meaning harm to her. He really is planning a coup d'etat with this underground group, and he's trying to get her involved, and it doesn't work this episode. Or my other theory was that he actually is involved with the authorities, and he's involved with the authorities and is like trying to get the mom to confess that she wants to, go against number 6. Like, it's part of an elaborate scheme. Like, I don't know at this point because he's so scary and dangerous, and in the most non-threatening way. Like, he's not a threatening person. He's not a threatening person at all, Yeowmen is, but there's just something off about him. Like, and she comments, she's like, you've got that same crazed look in your eye that those guys did when they were founding number 6. Like, you have that insane look, and so you're just like them. She's like, that's why I don't want to work with you. And then he makes the comment of, I thought before that he knew she was with that she had been previously working with the organization, but I guess he didn't. And so when he puts that together, he's like, oh, you're not who I thought you were. And that doesn't bode well for the mom, and so I'm worried for her all over again. I was like, last episode, I'm like, okay, well, at least she's with Yeowmen and he's not going to hurt her, but now I don't know. So it's like, and the wasps are about to hatch and cause all this trouble. It's like, oh my god. And then, yeah, there was something about the animation in this moment. I'm rewatching the episode where Nezumi talks to the manager, and there's just something about the way they drew Nezumi. He looks so beautiful in this moment where they're like, oh, where's Eve? Why aren't you coming to the theater? And he's like trying to put on a face and apologize. And you can tell it's for the manager because he's the one giving him money. But he doesn't look like his normal self. He looks so sincere. And then that's when the cleaning duty starts. And oh my gosh, this show spared no expense. I felt like I was watching an Attack on Titan episode where it's like just the grisly assault on these people and everyone dying. It's like, oh my god, it's awful. It's so terrifying. Just like I was like, if you kill this dog and you kill this baby and this dog, I'm going to be very upset. So at least in the preview, we see that the dog made it to Inukashi. I was like, oh, thank God. But yeah, poor Shion getting Shion's first taste of he got his first taste of death seeing the people die from the wasps, but this is just seeing bodies left and right. And I hadn't even considered what Nezumi tells him when he's talking to Shion, and he's like, I didn't want you to come into this correctional facility because I like you the way you are. I like your innocent, naive self. And once you go into this correctional facility, it's like hell. You may not be the same coming out. And he's like, and I'm afraid of that. And it's like, oh, I hadn't even considered that. Yeah, because if Shion sees some like terrible stuff, like how is that going to affect his psyche and psychologically? That's just... And then they end up getting caught and taken to the correctional facility. And it's just like, it gives me such Holocaust vibes. It's such Holocaust vibes where they just dump the people down the chute out of the truck like a dump truck. And yeah, guess what? Guess who was right about the Twilight House? This girl. Yes, because the Twilight House, you don't call something the Twilight House and it have a good meaning. No, it was just an execution facility. It clearly made it explicit that the grandmother did not die naturally. They were just getting rid of her. And, the part where Shion is under the blanket and he's just like crying out, and it shows him for a brief moment like just kind of just shutting down for a minute, and I wondered what that was, and I'm hoping they give us more explanation in the manga of that moment, but I don't know if he was just like calming himself and then getting back in the groove of things. And then that baby, he's like, I could save its life. And he's like, no, what are you going to do? And then he sends it with dog loan with his coat. And he wraps it in the coat, and that's so, oh my gosh. Shion's kindness and taking it to Inukashi. So, yeah. And then, yeah, the Twilight House, and then all being part of a thing. And then Yeowmen being crazy. So then we get this thing with Safu, right? Well, before we get the thing with Safu, we get the thing with the song, and this is a different song. It's not the song we've heard before, but it's a different song that Nezumi's singing to try to ease and comfort everybody, and he says not focus on the pain. But for the record, Nezumi's voice actor has a beautiful voice, like a beautiful singing voice, and I think, isn't it the same as Sosuke? Another reason I love this character, like a beautiful singing voice, which makes sense because it's Eve. But yeah, and I like that it actually calms the people in the truck instead of freaks them out like it did with the people in the cave. So clearly, I'm wondering if with Aurelius, different songs have different effects, or how that works. I'm very curious about that. But these people all seem like calmed, and like some of them are even moved to tears from his singing. Whereas the people in the cave with the Aurelius song were very scared. Speaking of Aurelius, speaking of that, so yeah, Safu is thinking of Shion, obviously, because that's like the only person she really connects with right now. And then in comes this like warp speed Akira nonsense, where she's like, "Who is it?" And it says, "It's me. Who are you?" And she says, "I'm Aurelius. I'm Aurelius." And then wakes up. So yeah, somehow Aurelius has chosen Safu to be a vessel. Cool beans. Great. And then it looks like things go off the rails, and then the two guys turn around to see what's going on, and then everything just gets crazy for a second, and then we just cut back. So I'm like, clearly Safu's become a vessel for Aurelius, and I'm like, how is this gonna work? I don't know if Safu can go on living with Shion and his mom in the wastelands if she's like a vessel for a living goddess. So I don't know how that's gonna work. But yeah, what you see from here on out may change you. And yeah, Nezumi's like, and clearly Nezumi knows that, like Yeowmen said, the people that are at the correctional facility are either experimented on or killed. And it freaks me out a lot, especially with how Shion reacted to the violence in the city. Like, I can only imagine if they're going to show us like people getting experimented on in the correctional facility. I don't know. I'm a bit worried. And then Shion's like shielding him, or Nezumi's shielding him. I don't know, but it looks like a lot of stuff is going down next episode, which it's the second to last episode. So I'm assuming things are going to get crazy. But here's the deal: we only have like an hour of this show left, and we have a lot of things to wrap up. So I am nervous that this episode, I really liked this episode, but it did feel a little rushed, and I'm nervous that the next two episodes are going to be rushed as well. And the only caveat to all of this is knowing that I will get to read the manga and talk about it afterwards. Like, that's the main caveat there, right? So, but, oh my gosh, you guys. So many questions. The Safu thing with Aurelius. I'm glad we're at the correctional facility because I've had questions about it this entire time of what all happened to Nezumi while he was there, what he saw, and it looks like we're going to get to that. And this show's been really good, guys, but I'm not ready for it to end. I really am not. I'm going to say that for the next two episodes. So, but anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. Next week we have episode 10, and then episode 11, and then the manga soapbox after that. So we still got a little bit more number 6 to go. But I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, what you guys thought of the episode. I hope you all enjoyed it, but yeah, I'm not ready for it to end. Not at all. But in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with the penultimate episode, episode 10 of number 6. Bye.